In this video, we're going to learn how to add and subtract fractions with different denominators. Let's suppose we have 1/9 plus 1/2. Remember, the denominator of a fraction is the number on the bottom. In order to add these two fractions together, the number on the bottom, the denominator, must match for each fraction. In order to make the denominator of each fraction match, we have to find what's called the LCD, or lowest common denominator. The lowest common denominator is the smallest number, in our case, for which 9 and 2 will divide evenly into. The smallest number that's divisible by both 9 and 2, in our case, happens to be 18. 9 divides into 18 evenly 2 times, and 2 divides evenly into 18 9 times. So this is the number that we'll use. So how can our LCD, or lowest common denominator, of 18 help us to add 1/9 plus 1/2? Here's how. I know that 9 times 2 equals 18, which is my LCD. So I'm going to multiply the numerator and denominator of my fraction 1/9 by 2 over 2. As you can see, we're essentially multiplying by 1. We're using the statement 2 divided by 2 as a fancy way of saying 1. And by doing this, we're preserving the ratio of our fraction. That is very important. Whatever you multiply on the bottom, you have to also multiply by the same number on the top. For my fraction 1/2, in order to make my denominator 18, I need to multiply 2 by 9. If I multiply by 9 on the bottom, I have to also multiply by 9 on the top. In other words, I have to multiply both the numerator and the denominator of my fraction by 9. Multiplying 1/9 by 2 over 2 gives me 2 over 18. Multiplying 1/2 by 9 over 9 gives me 9 over 18. Now, as you can see, I have the same denominator, and I'm now able to add my fractions together directly. 2 plus 9 equals 11 over the denominator of 18. During this step, it's very important to remember that we're adding the numerators at the top of the fraction, but the denominator we simply write as our LCD. So, now we know that 1/9 plus 1/2 equals 11/18. Let's try a subtraction problem. Suppose I have 2/5 minus 3/7. When we subtract fractions with different denominators, we have to find the LCD, just like we do when we add fractions with different denominators. In this case, I have a denominator of 5 and a denominator of 7. My LCD, or lowest common denominator, is the smallest number that can be divided evenly into by both 5 and 7. In our case, that LCD is 35. In order to make my denominator of 5 equal 35, I know that I can multiply 2/5 by 7 over 7. Again, remember, if I multiply the denominator by 7, I have to also multiply the numerator by 7 in order to preserve the ratio of my fraction. For 3/7, in order to get a denominator of 35, I need to multiply the numerator and denominator both by 35. Both by 5. When I multiply 2/5 by 7/7, I get 14/35. When I multiply minus 3/7 by 5/5, I get minus 15/35. Now that my denominators are the same, I can subtract the numerators directly. 14 minus 15 equals -1, all over my LCD, which is 35. Therefore, 2/5 minus 3/7 equals -1/35.